All right. Hope, thank you for spending your time with us on our little podunk stream, little community.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I wanna talk about you first, just very briefly. Give us your background, how you got to know Samson, if or the team, how you got plugged in with them, and really what and then kind of I want you to lead into it. At first, is it Infinite Fleet or Infinity Fleet? How do you guys say it?
It's Infinite Fleet, but
Infinite
a
Fleet,
lot of people actually make that mistake and they call it Infinity. So it's a pretty common mix-up.
right? Didn't want to offend. Okay, so a little background on
Yeah, no
you,
worries. Yeah,
and then where you
we
see Infinite Fleet going. If you would please, sir.
sorry, Jack. I didn't catch the latter part of your sentence there.
Sure. No, I was just saying, and then maybe where you see the game going in the future, like what you have envisioned for it.
Right. Yeah, sounds good. So basically, how I got to know Samson and the team was, it was actually through Bitcoin, to be honest. So I was sort of living the digital nomad lifestyle a few years ago, and I was traveling and living abroad, and I had a hard time actually sending myself money from my Canadian bank account. So I'm from Canada. So I was like, because my bank actually required me to physically walk into a branch in order to do an international wire transfer. So it put me in a tough spot, right? So
Right.
I had to research other ways to basically do cross-border remittance for myself, and that's how I stumbled upon Bitcoin back in 2016.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, I dove into the rabbit hole, and I actually met Samson Mao through a friend, a mutual friend here in Shanghai, where I'm currently based.
Okay.
And I just started working with him at BTC China, or BTCC, which was one of the biggest crypto exchanges at the
Yeah,
time, and also
that's funny.
operated one of the biggest mining pools. Yeah,
Okay, so you met him back at BTCC, back when he
yeah,
was there.
exactly.
Okay. Okay. Let me show you how I've met Samson, or my interaction with him. Hold on. Can you see my stream? Were you able to pull that up?
Yeah, I can see a enlarged profile picture myself.
Yeah. Uh,
Slightly awkward, but I can see the stream.
yeah. Okay. Well, give it a second to update, and then this is how I know Samson. I'm trying to show. So this is one of his collectibles that is from his
Yep.
magical crypto conference stuff, and
Were you were you there?
I was in New York. Yes. So I have the whole
Yeah, I
all
actually
four of them and everything.
yeah, I helped organize that conference. I was
Okay.
there as well.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
I did a big a physical exchange, like where I bought collectibles and stuff from Charlie, and that's where like we met at that exchange, and I mean at that event, and that went down, and so that's how I know Charlie as well, and then he introduced me to Samson, and so anyway, that's how I know him, and then we've kind of conversed over Twitter since then, but yeah, so I think this actually pointing to this collectible here. One of the things that was really funny about this is chat. I Hope already knows this, so I'm going to tell you guys. This is a coin, like I've shown you guys before, where you can peel off the back, and there's a private key under it, and it gives you access to a token on the Liquid network, which it's worth zero basically. But hey, maybe one day. So I think it would be good, Hope, before we get into Infinite Fleet, if you could give us a kind of a rundown of what is Liquid. Like, help. A lot of my chat are brand new, to Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. Which this is kind of why I do this, because I've been around, and I want to help kind of shepherd people to not buy the stupid stuff and not like make big mistakes and stuff. And so I'm trying to help guide them along. So with explain like I'm five kind of what Liquid is, and then how that plays into the game.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So, in order to explain what Liquid is, I'll just give a little brief background, history on that. So, as you know, Jack, back in 2017, there was, the fork wars, right? When
Hmm.
Bitcoin Cash broke off, and there's a huge politics regarding block size and SegWit 2x and all these things, right? So basically, Blockstream and Samson, they were sort of one of the main people behind basically defending Bitcoin's existing block size, which is 1 megabyte, and implementing SegWit rather than going with the big blockers and Bcash and all that, right? So obviously that's the reason for that, as you know, is so we can keep the blockchain size of Bitcoin relatively small, so that everyone can operate nodes.
Security.
And we keep the network relatively decentralized, right?
Correct.
So yeah, but obviously, as you remember, back in the 2017 top, there was a lot of traffic on the network and a lot of congestion, and it was very expensive to send transactions, right?
Right.
So basically, Blockstream as a company has been working on developing technology for a layer 2, a secondary layer network. And Liquid is that second layer network, right? So it allows faster block times, confidential transactions. Basically, it's a network that's designed to initially allow traders to quickly move a bunch of assets between exchanges.
Right.
So it's something that sort of complements the Lightning Network, which is obviously aimed for microtransactions and buying coffee, as the Bcashers would like to say, right?
Well, that's why Bitcoin was going to fail.
So Liquid is
you couldn't buy coffee with your Bitcoin, right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
Yeah. What a joke of an argument that was. I mean, obviously that's the world changing technology and social movement that we needed, was to find another way for people to buy coffee, right?
Right. That's like Charlie Lee likes to say, Bitcoin is not meant to be a better Visa. It's meant to protect your money from runaway inflation. I think he said that very aptly. Okay, sorry, continue.
Right. So Liquid Network is a secondary layer technology that's basically on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. And so it doesn't, it's not like the other sort of infrastructure projects like Cardano or Ethereum or whatever. It doesn't have its own token. It's just a network that allows you to peg in and out your BTC, right? So you can put one Bitcoin into Liquid, then that one Bitcoin is basically held there, and you get one Liquid Bitcoin on the Liquid network. But it's all one-to-one. So you're basically it's like a side chain where you just, it allows basically an expressway, a shortcut for you to send things that are faster and removes congestion from the main Bitcoin blockchain.
Right, and you're not subject
and
to
also
the
Liquid
fees,
has the capability of. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to step on your toes there. I was saying, in going through a second layer solution like Liquid would make it where you don't have to be subject to fees. Like where if you did a normal Bitcoin transaction.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the fees are much cheaper, and also the transaction times are much shorter. So you definitely avoid, if you want to send, if you're an arbitrage trader, for example, if you're trying to send your BTC quickly between two exchanges, Liquid makes sense. Or if you want to just send a small amount of LBTC or Bitcoin to your friend, within 2 minutes, then Liquid also makes sense. Great.
Okay. So now that we have a little bit of a background on Liquid, let's take a step into the game, and I have been running the main page, the landing page for Infinite Fleet behind me, and so I'm sure people are drooling over the graphics. It's a really nice lead-in video, like welcome video here. But how is the game in Liquid? How are they going to be connected? Like, what's the connection there?
Right. So Infinite Fleet ultimately is an MMO strategy video game, right? So that is our main focus. I just want to be clear up front. This is not one of those sort of blockchain gaming gimmicks like CryptoKitties or whatever else, where you're simply trading non-fungible tokens representing a virtual kitten, right? So our team is actually mostly game designers and game developers. Samson himself, before coming to crypto, he was an executive at Ubisoft, actually. So our team is a game design team, but obviously, since we overlap with crypto quite significantly, we had this vision of implementing crypto in the game in a way that makes sense, right? So we are actually going to use a crypto asset as the currency of the MMO. So if you guys played any MMO game in the past, for example, I used to play RuneScape as a teenager, right? That was like one of the early popular MMO games. In every game, there's an MMO currency, right? You're
Right.
just running around, doing quests, slashing people, and trying to get gold and gear, right? And then, so basically, but the problem with existing MMO games and currencies is that all of that gold and assets that you earn in a game are stuck in the game, right? Because they're all walled gardens, they're all closed ecosystems for obvious reasons. But I think with the way our world is going, especially after COVID this year, very quickly, everything's moving very quickly to digital, and obviously, Bitcoin, crypto is catching on. The adoption is accelerating, and I think it makes sense that in the future there should be sort of frictionless exchanges of assets between virtual worlds and the real world. And in our mind, that means having an MMO game currency where players can play, accumulate the game assets, and then they should be able to easily trade that for BTC or Tether or whatever, so they can earn real world value from the hours and hours they spend playing the game.
Yeah, like I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say just the thought of being able to be financially rewarded for hours worth of grinding on whatever game that I'm into, at the time, it's Civ 5 or whatever. Like just the thought of being able to turn that into Bitcoin or actual dollars or whatever that I like to be rewarded financially for it. That's pretty exciting. And not to have to go through some third-party site where I'm having to trust somebody in the middle, but to actually be, get a token of like INF in this particular game, in this instance, and then to be able to go to, say, an exchange where there's people speculating on it. Maybe it's higher or lower one day or the next, but just for that to be worth anything at all, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And like you said, if you're grinding for hours, mining gold or whatever, you want to be rewarded in a way, right? And in a lot of previous games like WoW, for example, there's basically people operating businesses out of Chinese basements of armies of gold miners.
Yeah.
And then you sell that on eBay to Western players who don't have the time, but they have the resources to purchase those upgrades, right?
Right.
So I mean, that was you already had this economy in these games, except that they had to go through third-party platforms because the developers didn't allow it to happen directly, right? So that's exactly the sort of the gap we're trying to bridge. And with crypto, I think it's very possible to do so.
Okay, so I like the sound of this. I'm obviously, I think there's a lot of potential here, not just for this game in particular, but for many games, like whatever the second version of this or whatever, like whatever it goes on to be. I think it could be huge. What is there any concern with like government regulators, trying to tiptoe around like the SEC in America, for example? They're very quick to rush in and say, oh, no, you can't do that kind of stuff, that kind of thing. Like if you did this, will you have to maybe wall off North America to be able to do things, or are they in support of stuff like this? I just have no idea. I have not kept up with this kind of stuff.
Right. So when it comes to the game currency, we are aiming to have it as a true utility token, which means that we're not going to be selling it. It's not going to be like some ICO or whatever, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we make no promises of future gains or whatever, and we are not selling it to players. The only way for players to earn it is inside the game by completing missions. So it's almost like a game credit reward they earn in the game, right?
Right.
And also, we are not going to be handling the conversion of the game currency, like INF to fiat directly. So we're not going to be involved in any sort of
I like that.
Potential money transmitter role. Players can earn INF in the game, and then they can send it out of their game accounts to their personal liquid wallet or to a third-party crypto exchange like Bitfinex or whatever. And then they can convert it over there, right? So that's cryptocurrency exchange's job.
Yeah. So okay. So it's arm's reach for you guys. You just created the technology that the token runs off of, essentially, and then kind of went, put your hands up, wash your hands of it, and however it's traded or bought or sold or whatever, that's outside of your hands.
Right. Exactly. And we're not putting any sort of expectation or let's say targets on the value of the INF token, right?
Right.
So we're just players are gonna earn it inside the game, and then over time, players will hopefully help organic value discovery for the INF currency. And we've actually also set a maximum cap of the supply, similar to Bitcoin, right?
Interesting.
So that,
okay.
Yeah, so that over time, it is likely that players would be able to earn some sort of value from the currency rather than just infinite inflation.
Okay. Is there some kind of issuance protocol? Like, is there like Bitcoin, the 10-minute blocks, etc.? Is it set up like that, or if there's a limit to it, how are they going to handle the distribution of it?
Well, basically the asset will be issued on Liquid. So it's not a protocol by itself. It's going to be an asset issued on the Liquid network, right? So we'll just issue the set amount that you can verify. You can check obviously on the blockchain, and then it'll just be distributed basically evenly over time via game participation. So, if you start playing the game from day one, you will have a longer period of time to earn INF than people who start later, obviously. But people who come later will still be able to earn it, but probably less and less over time. So it's kind of like Bitcoin mining, but instead of powering ant miners, you just grind. You play the game.
Right. It's using your 3080s and 3090s in a different way. You're still earning money, but
a different way. Yeah, exactly.
No, but okay. So I'm going to speak directly to chat real quick, Hope. So chat, this is why I wanted to have Hope on. Because I can, and I think you guys can feel it too, but I can kind of sense that this has some real potential, and this is something that we could be one of the first beta testers for, alpha testers, whatever. So anyway, this is why I wanted to have Hope on. Now, Hope, talk to us about the state of the game. Like where are things right now? What should we expect? What's the timeline? That kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. So we're actually very close to doing our alpha testing. We're just putting the finishing touches on a few things, but obviously the scope will be quite limited at the beginning for the alpha. Right. It's just going to be some combat and a little bit of mining and cooperative team play, and we're trying to test out the networking, how many players we can accommodate at this at one point in time, right? So
sure.
So that's gonna be alpha is gonna be happening very soon, most likely end of this month or February, and then beta we're aiming for beta towards the end of this year, later on this year, and the full game should be we should be able to release that by next year.
Awesome. Okay. So and correct me if I'm wrong, but is this? I come from the Star Citizen world where I was plugged into that real early and bought a couple ships and that kind of stuff. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is that kind of a similar model to what you're going to do here, where you have different kinds of ships that players can buy or take over, or does everyone just have the same one, or how does that work?
Right. So yeah. So we are also going to be releasing a variety of ships, of course. And we'll be selling some of those ships as well early on. For example, for the limited alpha release, we're actually welcoming people to join for alpha testing. But you will need to buy a ship in order to participate, right? So it is kind of similar to Star Citizen in that sense, but we're making good progress, and we are very confident that the game will be out by next year, unlike Star Citizen. And we're not trying to make the store to be the main component of the game rather than the game itself.
Yeah, sorry. As soon as I tried to compare it to Star Citizen, I thought maybe I shouldn't have done that, because that's Star Citizen with their scope creep is becoming kind of a meme in the gaming industry. So I didn't mean to, point to that, but just the fact that there are different model ships and that kind of stuff that you could buy. That was very interesting.
Yeah,
to
for
me.
sure.
Now, do you have any kind of like pricing or anything in mind for what these ships might be, or is that like to be determined?
We are still in the process of finalizing the pricing, but it's going to be a range from fairly entry level ships to more advanced rare ships, I guess. But it won't be. I can say that our prices are probably going to be significantly lower than the Star Citizen ships.
I appreciate hearing that. That's good. My wallet still hurts, from something I bought, I think 3 years ago that I don't even think's been modeled yet. So, ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, Star Citizen looks incredibly impressive, but like you said, they just kept on scope creeping. So, I mean, they're trying to do everything, right? So, who knows when that game will actually be ready? But yeah, I mean, the graphics and the features they have is quite impressive.
Right. Yeah. And one day it'll be great. My grandkids will love it. They'll talk that and DayZ. They'll talk about how much they love both those games. But no, that's great. Well, those, like, we've kind of hit the high points. Chat, is there any questions you guys have? I mean, again, this is the benefit of doing this all live. But go ahead and hit us with any questions you guys might have, and then I can relay it. Or Hope can read it as well, I'm sure. How are they funding the game development at this time? That's probably a decent question, Hope.
Right. Yeah. So the game company, our game studio, was actually started several years ago. It was seeded by, I think, Samson and his friend. They put up some money to start the company, but for Infinite Fleet, obviously, it's we're building an MMO game, so we had to expand the team significantly, right? To have the resources to build this ambitious project, and we have actually been raising money through a security token offering. So that's this is something totally different from the game currency we were talking about earlier. So we basically want to push crypto in every frontier possible, and we've been raising equity for the company via a security token, and that's so far we raised just over $3 million in a private round earlier last summer, and that was done via a security token.
Okay, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat wanted me to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add. So when it comes to security tokens, I think I think a lot of people are still not familiar with exactly what it is. It was hyped up a little bit a couple years ago, but then sort of, has gone by the wayside. But it's making an emergence again, and there are quite some big players and companies that are getting involved in space again. Basically, it's it's like putting company shares on the blockchain, right? So instead of issuing traditional equity to investors, we are giving them security tokens that are legally protected by the governing bodies like the SEC that have the same rights as a share.
Interesting. Okay. Now, several questions popped up while we were talking. Here's one of the biggest ones, one of the best ones. Where's Bitcoin going? What's the Bitcoin price going to be? What is it?
Oh man, I would definitely say my conservative target is at least 100K this bull cycle. I think if you browse Twitter, all the sort of OGs and also now the institutional players are in the game, right? So yeah. I think everybody sort of expects 6 figures minimum.
I think that's completely fair. And that's when I first started streaming, the price was like $9,000. And that was one of the things that we had discussed was 6-figure Bitcoin, and more is great. 200,000 maybe, just like a lot of people said 10,000 last cycle, and it, blipped up to 20 before it really crashed. So, see us go from 100,000 to 200,000 in a week or two. That'd be pretty cool. But I think ultimately securing that 6 figures and holding it for the full bear cycle, or at least the majority of it, I think that would be something. It's also perfect. it gives enough room for the media to say, oh, we're going to 7 figures, and to entice the late buyers to get in there. So anyway, yeah, I'm with you all day. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, that's the thing with Bitcoin. It always goes higher than people expect, and always drops lower than people expect.
Absolutely. That's why we hodl. All right, I got a couple other questions. Somebody said, if I have some of these coins, these INF coins in my account, and I lose access to my account, what happens? Can I get them back, etc.?
Well, so I'm gonna be straight. When you're playing the game and you're earning INF and you're trading INF for items from other players, all of that is gonna happen in a centralized marketplace and the account system that you have for the Infinite Fleet game. I'm not trying to say everything is decentralized. It's not,
right.
Because, and the reason for that is we are trying to push adoption of using crypto to the mainstream gamers. And the mainstream gamer audience, frankly, a lot of them, they really don't care about Bitcoin or fighting against inflation or any of that stuff that we care about, right? So for them, it's if you force people to learn how to use MetaMask, for example, or for D apps, whatever, it's a huge barrier to entry, and it turns a lot of gamers off, especially if the game itself is not up to par, right? So for us, our goal is to first and foremost make a good game and attract mainstream gamers, and then once they have a decent amount of INF in their accounts, then maybe they will realize they will be incentivized to realize that they can actually extract that INF from their in-game accounts to a liquid wallet or to a third-party exchange in order to sort of reward themselves for their grind.
Right. Okay. So somebody asked a question in chat, and I think it's pretty fair, because as I'm sure you and Samson and everybody knows, the whole concept of liquid can be confusing. So the question is, I'm still confused about what the difference between Bitcoin and the in-game INF token. What am I missing? I think what he's saying is, how would I convert one to the other?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, liquid Bitcoin is just Bitcoin on that's pegged onto the liquid blockchain, right? So if you look up, liquid Bitcoin is called LBTC. So if you look up LBTC, it's literally 1-to-1 to BTC. It's the same price, same everything, and you can use a conversion service. You don't even have to go to an exchange. You can use a conversion service like SideShift AI or
like a DEX or whatever,
right?
Yeah.
You can just exactly, yeah. You can directly convert liquid Bitcoin to Bitcoin. It's always 1-to-1, right? So liquid Bitcoin is just a Bitcoin that's locked up and then ported onto the liquid blockchain, and you can bring it back anytime. INF tokens are a separate asset that's issued on the liquid network. So I guess a good analogy would be like an ERC20 token on Ethereum in a way.
Right.
I mean, Samson would hate it to hear me say that, but that's I would say that's an analogy, right? Because liquid allows you to issue assets for either for assets for financial assets or or a game token.
Right. So it's funny you made that comment about Samson, because I joked with chat last stream that if I ever had Samson on, one of my first questions for him would be, so what was it like co-founding Ethereum, and how proud are you? Just to kind of like bait him a little bit.
Yeah. He'll tell you. He'll just tell you Ethereum's gonna be dead next year.
Yeah, I know. He's a very anti-Ethereum person. I am too. I am all Bitcoin. I'm very much a maximalist. So, here's another question that came up. I think it's also pretty fair. With this game, the Infinite Fleet specifically, or anything like it, whenever there's a currency that can be generated and then later sold for dollars, Bitcoin, whatever, there's always that worry about, well, man, I can't even play a match of CSGO without a hacker getting involved somehow. What's going to happen when you start adding money, like an actual monetary reward to the mix? So what's going on in the development side to help prevent stuff like that?
Well, I think we'll take the same security precautions as anybody does, right? Because I mean, the same argument can be made for like wild gold, for example, because wild gold was quite in demand for some time, right? And
Right.
you could say also, oh, hackers are going to try to game the system and get infinite World of Warcraft gold for their account and then sell it. So I think that's I mean that's a common concern in every arena, and it's definitely something that we'll work to guard against.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. And I'm sure as things progress, I mean, that's the reason you're going to do alpha testing, beta testing, etc. And I've played a game called Escape from Tarkov, where there are rampant hackers, but every so often the developers will say, "Hey, we screwed up. There's an exploit. We're wiping everything, everyone's inventory. We're wiping it back to scratch. That's what you signed up for. This is an alpha." And so everyone kind of shrugs and they're like, "Hey, that's just how it is." So I don't know. I wouldn't even be surprised if Infinite Fleet did something like that too, where especially in the early stages, hey, we're just going to wipe it in case something gets out of control. Like that is an option. Hey guys, you just need to be aware of that. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of speculating there.
Yeah. I just wanted to, Jack, I just wanted to add one more thing. So
Sure.
another common question I get that we get very often is, especially from Bitcoin maximalists is, why don't you guys just use Bitcoin directly in the game if you're, trying to do a cryptocurrency for games, right? And I just want to address that in case anybody's wondering. I mean, the reason is simply because we wanted to make the game to be as the barrier to entry to be as low as possible, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, if you're a regular gamer, you're used to having MMO money in the MMO game. But
Sure.
if I tell you to buy Bitcoin first before you can play the game, or before you can buy items and trade for items in the game, it's probably going to be a bigger concern or a bigger turnoff for a lot of people. So I would say that's the main reason. But also, obviously, if you want to use Bitcoin directly on chain for all the transactions, it's it does take time. It's not the fastest, and players have to pay fees, right? So it doesn't make sense to do everything on chain.
Yeah, understood. I think that's a fair concern. Okay. Will Roger Ver be a playable character? Ask chat. Hopefully not.
That's a good question. I'm gonna pitch that to Samson and see if he's interested in making Roger Ver a character.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Now here's a question from me. So this is not from chat, but I know in like EVE Online, okay, another big space flight MMO, I guess you'd call it. There are currencies in there. There's an in-game currency that you can earn that is used to pay for a month subscription. So that's like how they utilize their token. They say, okay, well, if you earn enough, you basically get another month for free. Is there any plans for anything like that as a way to, with INF, to somehow segue into how it's used with the game itself, like buying a new ship or reloading it or something like that?
Yeah. So it's INF is not going to be quite used like Plex in Eve. We will have a peer-to-peer marketplace inside the game, so you can actually use your INF to buy ships and resources from other players. So it's used for peer-to-peer trading.
Okay.
But it's not going to be used to buy. It's not going to be used to buy like premium game time or whatever, right? Because we don't have that. It's going to be free to play. We at least for now we're not planning to have any sort of like premium game time I saw a question on the chat here saying how is it not pay to win. The reason it's not strictly pay to win is because most of the things that you can buy with INF, they're basically from other players. They're like secondhand ships or like a unique what do you call it? Unique generation of ships from a previous time, for example.
Oh, okay,
right?
cool.
Or they're customized things.
Like cosmetic differences.
And obviously we will. Yeah, exactly. So most of the customizations and things like that are going to be cosmetic that you can buy. It's more like the Fortnite model rather than pay to win, I would say.
I think that's a winning strategy in this day and age. As soon as you say cosmetic, it diffuses so many kind of potential like upset like people are getting their questions ready in their mind, and as soon as you say cosmetic, they're like, okay, yeah, I've long since been okay with that. Right, like with CSGO and Fortnite, it's a safe word. That. So yeah, that's the safe word, and everybody chills out.
Yeah,
that's good. Okay, I'm streaming through the questions here. Yeah, okay, so it looks like chat's pretty excited. I know I'm excited. I know you said you got to go here in a minute, so we can wrap this segment up. But I appreciate you coming on, Hope. Is there anything else you want to leave us with? Any final words or anything like that?
Yeah, no, it's been fun. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, I hope everybody follows us on Twitter or subscribe to our newsletter to stay up to date on things. We're gonna have some very exciting things coming up, alpha release and new trailer. We're also doing a public security token offering to non-US for now, because our SEC paperwork are taking some time. But sure. Yeah, a lot of exciting things coming up, and Bitcoin is flying, so everything's good right now. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys 2021. It's gonna be a good year.
Awesome. Well, I think you've got a lot of good customers here in the chat, and we get a lot of video views after the stream ends as well. So I know there'll be lots of people interested. So please keep us informed. Keep me informed. I've already subscribed to the newsletter, and I follow you guys on Twitter, so I'll keep up with it as well. But if there's any kind of like pre-sales on ships or something, I'll be there. So just let me know.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Appreciate it, and thanks for all the other people who are watching.
You bet. Thank you, Hope. You have a good evening. Okay. Thanks for being a part of all this.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.